So how would you describe your actual medium and your style and you as an artist?
I'm a multimedia artist, so I don't restrain myself and only say I work in oils, or only say I work in acrylic, or only say I work in film. I allow myself, and was brought up really in a school, in the New York school, and I'll explain that a little bit in a moment. It depends on the idea. Sometimes acrylics are appropriate for the work of art, sometimes oils. I've worked in all mediums, actually. I shouldn't say all. I'm not a sculptor, although I have done some sculpture, but I'm a multimedia artist. I worked years in New York with Robert Rauschenberg's former master printer, Larry Wright. So I was very influenced by New York artists and the kinds of techniques a lot of them employed at the time.
That's really special. I love how you have the freedom to just be attracted to what you're creating and then find the medium that you feel inspired to do it in.
Exactly.
I love that.
And I think any artist who does well and who really succeeds, and it's very, very difficult, it's highly competitive. I wanted to address an issue that confronts me in living in Oxford, and that is that this is very isolated where we live. It's a really wonderful place to live, and I'm blessed to have an incredible studio and a marvelous group of friends. But it's challenging as well, because I don't have access to some of the mediums, some of the supplies, some of the gear that I need to continue at times. So it's very challenging.
Yes, I could see that for sure. It's the peaceful, but then you are, away from a lot of that access. It's hard.
And it's very important to continue working, and not only to stimulate yourself and the people who love your work, but to stay relevant.
Yes.
Relevancy is a key part to surviving, really, for an artist.
And now more than ever, there's so much emotional mayhem that it's nice to have art and artists for everyone to connect with right now.
Yeah, I mean, art connects to the humanities, and many of my friends, as you know, here, plein air artists like to paint people. They like to paint. I like to be around people. People inspire me, but it's very difficult to have so much isolation.
Yes,
very difficult. But I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
Well, how did the New York stuff, the New York art, come into your inspiration?
New York, when I was there, which was really in the 70s and the 80s, and it was so inspiring. I mean, the work there was so, Rauschenberg was alive at that time, many great artists were alive at that time, the gallery scene in Soho and lower down in downtown New York, not to mention uptown New York, there were nothing but galleries. You could wake up and go to a gallery, and you could, just before evening, see the greatest works of art being made. It was 24/7 art in New York when I lived there.
So great.
So, I get chills talking about it, because it was such a powerful way to come up, an incredibly powerful place to learn. I had the great, great good fortune in 1974 to apply for a fellowship at the Whitney Museum of American Art, and I got it. I was accepted to a fellowship program at the Whitney Museum of American Art, and that's really what took me to New York.
Gotcha.
And I was only 21.
That's such a compliment. What a huge award that is, and a launching pad with accolades to start. Like, they had that faith in you, that vote of confidence to send you on your way,
And it was a fascinating experience. I mean, it was just, I don't know, my New York years were my favorite years. Absolutely favorite years, because it really is it was a 24/7 experience. And I just feel so blessed to have had the life that I have had and the life that I have led, and that I can reach back and call on some of those memories and experiences to help drive me forward, to help hopefully inspire other people to hang in there. Hang in there. We will get to the other side of this. You know, and it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to find that thread of a, you know, what is the right word? The torch that you carry to light the way, to light your own way, but hopefully to light the way of others as well. I've been extremely fortunate to have people who have influenced me, who've said, you can do this. You know what I mean?
So
you
great.
can do this, which gets you through the darkness. Life has darkness. Life has darkness.
Yeah.
But it has great light as well. So it's incredibly important to hang in,
Yeah.
you know, and to share, to stay connected. To share and stay connected, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to do this interview with you today.
Same. That we feel so honored that you did. And for us as a community center, we really want to try anything it takes to keep people communicating together and accessing other human beings in these new virtual ways. You know, it's so hard not to be able to hug each other all the time. And so this is so important to put yourself out there and let us see your studio and participating in these little things that we can do. So I guess that does bring us to
well, and I on that point, I want people to know my studio is open.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We can social distance. You know, some people have become completely afraid, and you know, just abide by the rules, abide by the regulations, do the right thing. My studio's open. We can mask.
Yeah,
You know
exactly.
what I mean? We can mask up. We can
Yep.
share. We can continue sharing. It doesn't have to be huge events with loads of people, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
In between now and the time they do find a vaccine, and,
Yes.
and to make more people safe.
Yep.
You know, but we must believe that the future is possible, and you know, not only for ourselves but for our children, for the
Yeah,
future,
they're really
for
struggling.
young people coming up, and for the life of the nation. You know, we have to believe
It's
and
true.
get up every day and get dressed every day,
Yes.
right?
Oh, it's so true. It's back to those basics for sure. It can be overwhelming just thinking, how long is this going to be, you know, where I can't go explore.
And don't get locked in the moment. You know what I mean? Allow yourself at that point to project and say, this is, you know, in a year's time, hopefully, or less, we'll have a vaccine, you know, that will hopefully protect many, many people from, you know, but I think there are great lessons to be learned about what has happened. Great, great lessons.
Definitely. Well, we're lucky because we're doing this pop-up exhibit for the Oxford artists. That's the first thing that comes up that you're involved in. So tell us a little bit about what you think if you know what you're going to bring there yet, or it's you know, 3 pieces of all the artists just to come see and have in the outside exhibit space.
Well, and that ties me back to the relevance issue, because I go through periods like other artists. I mean, Picasso had periods, many artists have periods. I mean, you can see that in my work. You can see, when you come to my studio, you see different periods of my work. So I am working on now a series of really exciting digital fine prints. So I'm bringing in the latest digital fine prints for the show. And in the pop-up, I love how you're doing this dual thing between the actual and the pop-up, you know, virtual. And that's a really tough chord to strike, Liza, and you're doing it.
I'm excited about that too. Well, we've got this web designer who has figured out that way of just putting stuff up and alerting you when one is sold, and you can put up a new one, and it keeps it live and fresh all the time. And once we had to build it for fine arts, we realized it's built. Let's keep populating it. It's a mechanic. It's a tool for these purposes. And then when luckily the Avalon came through with their the whole Paint Oxford Day and Plein Air Easton, they showed us how to do a great outdoor piece. So now we've just combined what we had done virtually with their outdoor piece, and it is a hybrid. It's gonna be so fun. Because then the 6th is when we see everything outside, and then the whole month you get to be with those artists on the website. So,
that's great.
Well,
I want to talk a little bit about that more, because I know you want me to, but I want to sneak one other thing in here. I love to produce. I love to produce. So one of the challenges, as I was indicating earlier, is getting the material that I need.
yeah.
So right now I'm working with 2 companies. One is in Illinois and one is in Ohio. to get the materials I need. So, I'm really happy. It took me forever to find companies, because I have a small company of my own, to coordinate with in order to get the materials that I need. But that's starting to move a little bit better now, and I'm able to have access, and they're, and if artists are looking for the kind, I can talk about that offline to other artists, but, it's hard when you're in an isolated area to get what you need really to move forward.
You feel compromised, yeah.
But I want to say, on the behalf of a couple of things here, which I noticed you wanted me to say, from 10 to 4 on September 6th is the pop-up online exhibition, correct?
The physical one.
The physical one is October 6th at the OCC, which is right in Oxford. And then the online gallery will last from all during September?
From the 6th.
From the 6th
to the end of September.
26th?
Yeah, to the 30th.
From the 6th to the 30th, you can see all the artists. And Oxford has a really high caliber of artists, I think, represented.
Yeah, me too.
To name a few, Larry Myers, an extremely talented painter. I don't have the list now. Paula
Curvan, Paula Bell,
Norm Bell. So I think some people, Linda Curvan. So you've
Sarah
received.
Koch.
Yes. And it's a relatively small group coming in this year, so it won't be an overwhelming amount of work for people to see online.
Exactly.
And where will people be able to? It's
oxfordcc.org.
oxfordcc.org, beginning July 6th and going through
6th,
the 26th.
Basically, yep.
Yeah. And then you wanted me to say something about the picket fence auction, right?
Yes, because that's such a neat tradition here, and we've tried to retire it, and by popular demand, people just love those picket fences as a palette, So how is that for an artist to put your work on this, piece of material, this picket fence?
Well, I don't want to take up too much time, but I each year get asked to do a fence, so I'm very flattered, first of all. And it's been a really fun thing to do. But it's also a challenge, because you have to find mediums that can withstand the elements. Extreme sun, tons of water. I mean, we won't go into the global warming issue right now, but, it's pretty battering out there at times. So for work to stand on its own, you have to find mediums that can withstand the elements. So, but also it's a challenge, because, whatever your language is, mine's set. I have my voice and my language, matching that language to a tiny picket fence. Some people might feel that's a large palette. For me, it's a pretty tiny palette. And to figure out how to fit the language so it fits on the fence and come up with something dynamic. Each year is always a little bit of a challenge, and it's always, it takes time. It takes time to produce the fences.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that there's an outpouring for them, and people come back, and we want them. That's really wonderful.
It is. It's been great. Benefiting all the different charities, and, the OBA has been so generous to have 100% go to the charities pretty much this year, and they underwrite the fences and all that. So the OBA is really behind that, and it's been nice to see them keep that going.
And that stands for the Oxford Business Association, right?
Yes.
So it's charitable in two ways. Each artist chooses or is selected by a charity to create a fence, and then they benefit. The artists do not benefit, except for exposure, which is lovely. But it's really important when you're an artist at the point of my career that I'm in, to figure out ways to be charitable as you can possibly be.
It is very generous of you guys. It's amazing. It's amazing to have you guys do it. We're so excited to be your charity this year. We're going to hopefully get you lots of exposure, and we're so full of gratitude. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be so fun to see it all come together on the end of the month.
Well, I hope as we move forward, too, in years to come, I can help in any way that I possibly can.
Oh, yeah.
So please call on me.
Oh, definitely. Well, where can people find out more about you? What are your websites and things like that.
Right. Well, I do have a gallery in Big Sky, Montana, which is far away. But I do have a gallery, which is has been a very exciting process for me.
Yeah.
And I am currently collaborating on a website that will be specific for my work.
Perfect.
So that's coming up in the fall.
Okay.
And I'm also collaborating with New York artists at this point, people in my peer group. And there will be, so most of the work really, because we are moving and it's challenging that most of our connections will be online, but I will keep you posted about the information.
Good.
And as events come up that involve my work, I hope people will participate. If you want more information about my work, you can certainly contact Liza. She knows right where I am.
And I'm so lucky too. Thank you, Sid. I'm so excited to showcase you and your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.